Going. All right. So we are Group 8, and we are going to talk about the third wave, the principles of continual learning and experimentation. My name is Diego Freire, and I'm here with Carolina Acevedo and Kina Michi. So the first aspect is enable organizational learning and a safety culture. There will be a time when we are going to work with complex systems, handling several tasks, and you will face catastrophic situations that you need to solve. Um, Now, this situation is the most important aspect. How do we address problems? We might think that any error might be solved blaming the person that caused it. In the technology value stream, most of the work is done in complex systems. Now, how the management chooses to react and if it is poorly will cause a culture of fear that will prevent for, for more errors to be reported. Dr. Ron Westbrook was one of the first to observe the importance of organizational culture on safety and performance. He described three organization cultures. First of all, we have the pathological organizations that are often characterized by large amounts of fear and dread, where ideas are discouraged and learning is not allowed. This is something that we don't want. The next is bureaucratic organizations, and these are characterized by rules and processes. Failure is processed through a system of judgment, resulting in either punishment or justice and mercy. Often common but not the best situation. Perhaps the best option is to have a generative organization where responsibilities are shared throughout the value stream, and failure results in reflection and genuine inquiry. This is the approach that we want as developers. We want a culture that learns from mistakes and improves every day. In our next slide, Dr. Spear observes that the result of removing blame and putting organizational learning in its place is that organizations become ever more self-diagnosing and self-improving, skilled at detecting problems and solving them. Let's talk about institutionalizing the improvement of daily work. In our next slide, in the technology value stream, we need to constantly update our processes. If we avoid fixing our issues, we will soon find that this will increase over time and cause more trouble. This is why Mike Orson, author of Lean It, observed, even more important than daily work is the improvement of daily work. We must reserve time to improve our technical depth and solve any mistake that we might find instead of letting this to grow as time passes. We will be able to fix our problems in different areas of control. It is important to fix the bigger problems that usually takes months first. Then we should focus on smaller issues. This practice solves issues and becomes cheaper as trouble decreases. Applying this, we will make our system safer and reliable. We will fix any type of problems and see how everything improves. So this is this is really important to know and a way that we will fix problems. But also remember that as we often finish problems, the consequences will be smaller and the problems will be easier to resolve. So this is all for my part. Yes, continue.
Okay, now we are going to talk about transform local discoveries into global improvements. So when we find a new knowledge, we try that the rest of the organization can use it and benefit that from that knowledge. It will make the company more efficient if we do it. So here we have a process that is the tacit knowledge is going to explicit codify knowledge, and then this came to someone else experiment through practice, and everybody can benefit from this new knowledge. Now, in the next presentation, in the next slides, we have a small comic about it. When somebody is explaining that he brings something new, some new knowledge, and how to reduce the scope and change requirements, etc. And the boss is not so happy with him, so he's like, "Well, I don't want this," in a joke form. Now, in the next slides, we're talking about inject resilience patterns into our daily work. In these ones, we believe, or people believe, that reduce risk of a work center going down due to machinery failure. And what we need is buying new equipment, hiring more people, increasing floor space, but this create a really increasing cost. Another way to reduce risk is like perform accurately the same results of this is improving daily operations, continually introduce tension to elevate the performance, as well engineering more resilience into their system. Um, so we have here like improving work operation and increasing productions is persistent experimentation, is with persistent experimentation. In the next slide, we discover that in the technology value stream, it will help us reduce the deployment time, increasing the test coverage, and reduce the execution time. And that's what will help us in this area.
Evidence shows that greatness is achieved when the leader's role is to create conditions so their team can discover greatness in their daily work. This requires that leaders and workers are mutually dependent on each other. Neither can solve problems on their own, as the leader is not close enough to the work, and the workers do not have the broader organization, context, or the authority to make changes outside of their workplace. To achieve strategic goals, there are 5 steps to follow. First, state the problem that needs to be solved. Second, create a hypothesis of how a proposed countermeasure will solve it. Third, decide the methods for testing the hypothesis. Fourth, the interpretation of the results. Fifth, the use of the learning to inform the next iteration. The leader helps coach the person conducting the experiment by asking questions to aid in the problem-solving process. This process helps ensure that the products built actually help the internal and external customers achieve their goals. In conclusion, the third way fosters a culture of continual learning and experimentation to improve flow.